Hello, my name is Dave Gunter. Welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about incident response. It's been in the news. It's fundamental. We hear all about it. We know those 4 steps. We know there's preparation. We know there's detection and analysis. We know there's containment and eradication. And we know there's closeout or post-incident activity. Those are the fundamentals. But what's underneath the hood? There's a lot underneath the hood. You all know this. There's communication channels. There's a host of topics. We're only going to touch on a few today that are kind of hot buttons for me when it comes to the operation and maintenance team, because there's things they have to be aware of. Number one, how to spot issues. You know, if you don't have, most of you have an automatic detection tool that'll talk you through what if you have a cyber anomaly. If you don't, it's something you really should look into. However, operators, and when I say operators, I mean folks running the board, they have an opportunity. You have a faceplate, you hit the button, it takes less than a second to come up. Today it takes 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Is a cyber event? You don't know that. Was work done on the system? Perhaps. Is it a script running in the background? Do you have a network problem? Did someone fat finger the configuration? These are things you got to look into before you declare you have a cyber event. Now, if you have the big giant Bitcoin sign show up on your screen for ransomware, you can be assured that that's a cyber event. However, it's these other things that you need to spot. Faceplate time, page-to-page navigation time. These are fundamentals that you need to understand. The mouse moving across the screen. Okay, check your mouse, make sure your peripheral devices have the battery, they're charged, whatever it may be. Set points changing without your notification. If you see that, talk to maintenance, call maintenance. You have a role. You can spot some of these things. Even someone who's in the telecom room that shouldn't be in there or that you weren't aware of, reach out to maintenance. Find out who's there. Find out what they're doing. Because as the operators make the rounds, they look for safety anomalies. They can look for cyber anomalies too. These are just some of the fundamentals. Your maintenance team should be able to declare an incident or not, and they'll say, look, at this point, we need to declare an incident. And that's why I like to call the operations and maintenance team the first responders to cyber events. They usually see it. Now, if you have a network anomaly that comes from a corporate SOC and they said you have an anomaly, those folks are first responders. But together, they work as a team. And the operation and maintenance team, they're boots on the ground. So they can give you the information you need. The next thing you need to think about is know your team. Know who you communicate to. Know who to call. Okay? Know who to talk to. Do not restore unless you've talked to the folks at corporate or the folks above you in the IT team. In the early days, you'd have a cyber incident and you'd get there and you'd start to investigate, and the plan would be up, the machine would be completely rebuilt, and they would say, yeah, we fixed that, we took care of it. You lose all your forensic information if that happens. And you really want to know what happened and who got in and how so you can fix it. So make sure you understand that command to restore or command to fix. You also have to understand that containment aspect so it doesn't continue to spread. At some point after you declare, you got to reach out and get support to your team or from your team. Also, run a tabletop on this. What I mean by a tabletop is sit there and say, okay, we got ransomware on this one computer. What do we do? Work through your team on that. Test that. See how it works. That's kind of a fundamental thing. What's interesting is as you write your tabletop, you've hit the point, you've declared it. Now you're going to back up and restore because you've gathered all the information you could. Do you have your backups? Did you follow the 3-2-1? It would be horrifying to go and say, oh, my backups are corrupted too. So also from an operation and maintenance standpoint, when you first kick off and you say, wait, there's an anomaly going on here, check your backups, make sure your backups are okay. 3 copies of backups, 2 in 2 different logical locations, 1 off-site, not connected. That's some of the fundamentals that you kind of need to go through when it comes to incident response. Make sure you run those tabletops. Make sure you also know what systems were affected, whether it was BPCS, basic process control system, safety system, your environmental systems. If your environmental data was compromised, your historic data was compromised, or it was locked up and encrypted, how are you going to prove that you were in environmental compliance the entire time if it was lost? So those are some fundamental things you need to think through from an incident response standpoint from an operation and maintenance perspective. There's a whole host more, but you really need to reach out to that team to have a deeper discussion. So thanks for joining us, and join us for the next topic.